so for our science experiment, I was told it's going to take about 10 minutes, so I didn't start it right away. We put water, honey for our sugar, and yeast in this one, and then we put water, sugar, or honey, and brewer's yeast in this one. We're trying to see which one's going to actually blow up the balloon, aren't we?
That one is.
So far, which one's blowing up the balloon?
This one.
All right, so while we... Stop touching it, please.
That's funny.
While we wait and see, how about we start the other experiments? What else do we need?
We need tape, small disposable cup, foam paintbrushes,
Okay, we don't need the foam
and
paintbrushes. I don't know what that is.
construction paper.
Okay, well, you guys know where that stuff is. Run, quick, quick, quick. I'm kind of intrigued by how big this balloon is getting. Yeah.
Oh, wow! Oh.
Is brewer's yeast doing anything?
You're putting the same thing. Wow!
You gotta put in the same thing? Are you sure it has to be the exact same?
No. Yes.
Construction paper.
Yes, we do.
It's right there on the counter. I pulled it out already.
Oh.
Alright, so while that is continuing to rise, we're going to do this, and the glue, scissors, tape. Do you guys have tape?
Right here.
Oh,
Okay, but I just got nothing.
I didn't get anything. Guys, go. Are we going to do it at the table? Well, we should probably do it over here so we can watch that balloon, huh? So let's go over on this side of the counter.
It's getting bigger each time we're looking away. How's it pop?
Let's hope it doesn't pop. Well, that's pretty cool. It's getting so big, huh? Do you see how yeast needs sugar to grow? Oh, I probably should have done one without sugar, huh? How it grows so much more when you have sugar. And the more sugar you have, the more the yeast is going to grow. So just like our bodies, the yeast inside our body is going to keep growing the more sugar we have in it than the one that doesn't have as much, right? And this sugar, or this yeast, isn't the same kind of yeast. This is a different kind of yeast called brewer's yeast. This yeast is, well, it's the, what is it? It's the instant dry or something like that. Active yeast. This is the active dry yeast. And the orange balloon is the one that's this is the one that's like the stuff in our bodies. So do you see why it's important to stay away from things that are yucky and like all sugary and stuff? Because the more sugars we eat, the more
growing we get.
the more inflated we get.
Oh, now I get it. Maybe you blow
So you
air
bloat
into it.
up.
Like,
Kind of. So you know how the more sugar you eat, it's essentially like blowing you up more, making you hold on to more bad things in your body. This yeast is a different kind of yeast, though. It's called brewer's yeast. This is not the kind that's inside our body. This is a inactive yeast. We were trying to see if this one would blow up at all. This was going to be our constant. I guess our control should have been a yeast without sugar. But that's okay. Learned our lesson.
okay, what's next? We're doing time.
That is getting super big. Our balloon, sorry, just in case someone didn't catch on earlier, or didn't catch it, but didn't hop on earlier. These are our yeast bottles, and they both have sugar in it. They both have honey and warm water. It's just the difference is that one is brewer's yeast, and this is active dry yeast. This is the yeast that's inside of our body, essentially, or the closest to it. And it's really warm, isn't it?
Let me feel it. Oh, that one's hot.
It's because of the water. But the yeast, the one that's closest to the one in our body, this one, is blowing up the balloon. So it's essentially holding on and keeping warm. Not keeping warm, but what was it called whenever you retain lots of water? Bloating. There we go. That's what I'm saying. It's essentially bloating or blowing up the balloon. So the more water or the more yeast and sugar that's in one balloon, they're really doing the right thing. Can you tell? The more water or yeast that's in one balloon, the more inflated it is, whereas the brewer's yeast doesn't inflate at all. It doesn't keep it unless my kids are turds and decide to use or touch the bottle, which is what they're not supposed to be doing. So the one that's the most like the yeast in our body grows when there's sugar in it. And the more sugar we have and the more we feed it, the bigger it grows. So there was more honey in this as well. Well, actually, I put a little bit more honey in this one just because I wanted to see if this one would grow at all. I read something that brewer's yeast doesn't grow, or it won't create any gases. And they've created some gas just because, like I said, my kids have been messing with this bottle. Whereas this bottle has created its own gas all by the yeast and the sugar feeding off of itself. Do you guys know why?
No.
Why does the yeast need sugar? Do you know, Ty?
Because it's food and allows it to grow.
It's food. So just like our bodies need food to grow, relax. Just like our bodies need food to grow, the yeast in our bodies need food to grow. And their food is just regular sugar and salts. So whenever you're craving super sugary foods or even salty foods, depending on how much you're craving, this would be more like your body. Your body's going to hold on and the yeast is going to grow more. Because as you can tell, even down here, I don't know if you can see very well, but that yeast is almost to the top of the Coca-Cola band right over here. And so just like our bodies, the yeast is going to keep growing in an environment that is sugary and salty and something that it's going to grow. In fact, I have a friend who had a baby recently, and she said that she cut out sugars entirely out of her diet. She dropped most of her weight just by eating healthy and drinking more water, no exercise at all. And then she cut out sugars entirely from her diet, and she dropped and went below her pre-pregnancy weight. And so it just goes to show even more that the yeast in our bodies is growing more off of the sugars that we eat than anything else. Because like I said, this active dry yeast is just like the yeast in our bodies here. Isn't that crazy?
Yes. You can't even see. Look at it.
Do you think this balloon's going to blow off of the Coca-Cola bottle?
Yeah. Yes. Me too.
I think it would, I don't know. I think it would just pop.
You think it'll just pop?
No.
Okay, well, it's almost been 10 minutes, and I've heard that after about 10 minutes, it's no longer really active, and so I feel like that'll be a safe time to call it quits. But until then, we're going to work on another science project just to kind of keep time going. Guys, I need you guys to go outside and find different things. Let's see, we're going to make a collage with items collected from the yard. Make sure they have different shape, color, and texture.
Okay.
Okay?
We need
1, 2, 3, go. So, I'm intrigued though. I did not expect this balloon to blow up this much. Honestly, I didn't. I thought it was just going to blow up a little bit, and so I actually doubled it because I was like, I have a really big container. I want to make sure this balloon actually blows up. And so, as you can tell, I overshot because now my yeast is like growing, which is cool, but at the same time, it's like kind of irritating because now I have to worry about whether or not this balloon's going to go off. How long? Oh, you think? See, that'll be a cool experiment to try to see if regular sugar and honey, like natural sugars, also have a difference. Because I think that's something that would create a difference as well. I agree with Ty. What do you think? Do you think natural sugars and artificial sugars would have a difference with the yeast? Do you think one would raise faster than the other? Because we are saying we think the artificial sugars would raise faster. Do you think so? Austin thinks so. Hey, do you think artificial sugars would raise faster than honey?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's a fake sugar? Hey, do you think fake sugar would rise faster than Do we have cane sugar? I don't think we do. But I do have powdered sugar. Cold, please. I might do that. So I think our balloon has pretty much almost finished. I don't think I've seen it. Oh, well. No, it's still rising. You can see it. But these are the sugars we put into our body. And so it took about 5 minutes for that one to start. So I wonder if... Well, actually, no, it didn't. It started almost immediately, didn't it?
I got a lot of leaves.
I hope I didn't kill my yeast in the second one.
Ow! Ow! Can you get more?
I think that should be good.
Austin's still working on it.
Okay, well, put your stuff over here because you guys are going to make a collage together.
What's that?
Why are you yelling at me?
Hey,
We are comparing yeast that's a natural sugar now compared to artificial sugar. And so far, I think the natural sugars actually had a faster reaction than the artificial sugar. Hey, Susan. This is the artificial sugar. Oh, although look, it's starting to grow.
Wow. Whoa.
But look at that one.
I know, that's what we were saying.
Hey, stop.
We think that one's had a faster reaction, but which one do you think is going to have a bigger reaction?
This one.
Stop!
Mom, this one's fun.
Well, that's pretty. I like that. So they're working on a second science experiment at the same time. So Talon has a science experiment where it's going to be a nature collage, and it's more of an observational experiment where he's going to observe different items from nature, and he gets to say whether it's a quantitative or qualitative observation. Or, yeah, make qualitative observations about properties, and then also some quantitative. And so he's going to work with me on that while we're waiting because, oh, look, it's starting to grow.
Whoa, it's starting to grow.
We started off with brewer's yeast in this one, and it wasn't really creating any difference. And so then we became intrigued, and we decided that instead of using brewer's yeast, we were going to try out regular yeast, regular active dry yeast, with artificial sugar instead of natural sugar. Yes, I said that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Because the first one, the orange balloon, stop touching! The orange balloon is... Sorry. The orange balloon is honey, and the pink balloon is powdered sugar. And Laurel got woken up early from her nap. Sorry, guys. So that's just something we have to deal with. But I'm pretty sure that's Coralie. Sorry. So the other kids are looking for stuff to put together in nature collage because Talon has to work on a quantitative and qualitative observation, and he has to mark down what he's used to observe that. While we're observing this, I feel like this can kind of go along with the same thing, but we're also talking about the fact that this yeast that we're using, the active dry yeast, is the most like touching it. Every time you touch it, you make it so it's not going to go up as much. You're going to kill it. We're talking about how this is more like the yeast in our body, and we're trying to see which yeast is more harmful for our body, which one's going to cause more bloating, the artificial sugar or the natural sugar. And this is honey after about 10 minutes, and this is powdered sugar after about like 3 or 4. They're crazy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how quickly they grow. I was not anticipating this. In fact, I'm half tempted to keep watching just because I'm like, maybe one will blow. Like, one will just be like, pop! You can hear this balloon over here. You can hear this one growing. You have to be quiet. If you're not quiet, you can't hear it. This is about half of the size of the orange one, and it's only been about 5 minutes for the pink one. The pink one we started later because we decided to change it. Originally, it was brewer's yeast with honey and water in this one, in this pink one. But then we switched it to active dry yeast in both of them to act more like the yeast in our bodies. And we're trying to see which one the yeast causes to bloat more or causes more bloating from, or I don't know, inflammation from.
I think this one's
so far this one,
faster.
I think so too. I think the pink one's growing faster than the orange one because it's been about, so I think the orange one has grown slower, and I think it's actually starting to let out some of its air. I think it's starting to go back down. If you look at it, it looks like it's not growing very much anymore.
You can see.
Whereas this one, it's growing like quickly.
Stop touching it,
I don't know if you can see down in there, but it's pretty big already, which is kind of cool. And this one's only been in there for about, well, it's almost been there for about 10 minutes now, so I can handle it. So yeah, that's kind of, or not intense, that's kind of crazy though. Crazy, crazy.
That's real crazy. It looks like that one's the
You have to
same
use colors.
It
Which
looks
one?
like the pink one is the same size as the orange one in this.
That's right. And they're about the same size, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Since this one's going down and this one's going up.
Touching it, you're gonna kill the yeast every time. Cheese and crackers. By how cool this is, like how much this has been working. I didn't think that this sugary one was going to work this long, and I honestly thought this one was going to be bigger by this point. I thought that this is going to be about the same size as the orange one, and I thought that the pink one was going to get about twice the size as the orange one, to be honest, because natural sugars are usually better for you. And as you can see, it almost looks like there's not a difference. I wonder if the powdered sugar is different than regular table sugar, though.
I think.
Like I said, I wonder, because we use powdered sugar instead of like regular artificial sugar, I wonder if there's a difference to it, and I wonder if powdered sugar is almost like, what is it, xylitol or something like that?
Yeah,
Erythritol. There's something, the two natural sugars, I wonder if powdered sugar is closer to those than like table sugar or like granulated sugar and stuff like that. What are your thoughts? Because I'm not feeling that this is an accurate reaction, or we killed the yeast. I'm willing to go with we might have killed some of the yeast too, because I poured the water in on top of the yeast instead of putting the yeast in last. Probably not the best idea. Just throwing that out there for you.
I heard something.
Same. It looks like one's a little bit smaller.
It does. Looks like the pink one's just a little bit smaller than the orange one.
I think it's wrong. I'm just kidding.
But we just wanted to share our experiment with you about the different sugars. I honestly thought the pink one was going to fill up more. I might have killed my yeast though, so we'll have to see about that. And then the orange one is the honey. The pink one is the powdered sugar. And if you know if there's a difference between powdered sugar and table sugar and what the difference is, let me know in the comments, please, because I would like to learn the difference so I can know for next time so we can have a better experiment, because we're trying to see, hey Amber, we're trying to see if it's better for natural sugars in our body or artificial sugars, because artificial sugars usually cause more bloating, where it looks like the natural sugar causes more bloating initially, and then it goes down faster. So that might be something else to look into. So I hope you guys have a good week. This is our crazy random science experiment for the week. If you guys have an idea for a science experiment for next week, let me know in the comments below, and I will see about doing that one. I hope you guys have a good week, and we'll see you later.
I did not